You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Is your pet stressed out? Does your pet need annual vaccines? Which pet is best for a child? Would you know if your dog was in pain? Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor, where you'll learn everything about keeping your pet healthy and happy. From pet care, pet meds and grooming, to pet food, pet insurance, and dental care, this is the place to find out everything there is to know about pet wellness. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets, because it's your pet. Health matters. Please welcome your Pet Doctor host, veterinary media consultant and veterinarian, Dr. Bernadine Cruz.
Fits like a collar, acts like a guardian angel. That might be one of the best ways to describe a very unique advancement in wearable technology for your dog. While attending the 2015 American Veterinary Medical Association's National Convention in Boston, Massachusetts, I was introduced to a product that's blending technology with heart, the Voyce Pro. It will assist the pet owner and veterinarian to provide a customizable approach to pet wellness without even putting your hands on the dog. My guest is Amanda Landis-Hanna, Director of Veterinary Medicine for Voyce Pro. We'll be right back after this short break.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
Do you know that moment when your dirty dog's about to jump in your nice, clean car? You can avoid all the cleanup and mess with a 4K9 seat cover. 4K9s makes heavy-duty seat covers and cargo liners that will blend seamlessly with the interior of your vehicle. You can find us at 4K9s.com. That's the number 4, KNINES.com, or on Amazon.com. 4K9s makes nothing but the best for your best friend.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to The Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Dr. Amanda, this is absolutely an awesome product.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited that we are at the point where we're bringing it to market and where we're able to so positively impact the lives of so very many dogs.
Tell me a little bit about your background. I'm always so fascinated. People think, oh, you're a veterinarian, so you're going to be in the clinic taking care of cats and dogs. And there's so many different things that veterinarians do. So this is a little bit out of the ordinary for veterinary medicine. What's your background? How'd you get into this?
So it's very interesting. I'm a 2002 Auburn University graduate, and when I graduated, similar to what you were just describing, I did go into practice, and I practiced full-time for the last probably 13 years, and during that time, I've practiced in small animal, I've done exotic medicine, I've done some mixed animal practice, I've volunteered as well as worked for animal shelters, so I've kind of done quite a few things. The last 7 years, I was a medical director for VCA at 3 different hospitals, 1 in California and 2 here in Virginia. And I kind of was feeling like I had gotten exposure to a lot of different areas of veterinary medicine, but that I still had new things that I could potentially bring to the table. So I started taking a look at some research opportunities to see what was available and how could I potentially have an impact. And I came across a group that wanted to do non-invasive dog, as well as eventually in the future we will be doing additional species as well, but to do pet healthcare monitoring to help benefit the veterinarian by getting information about their patients while they're at home, as well as to help benefit the pet parent by giving the pet parent education that comes from a veterinarian's background. So really to kind of help bring everyone together. And that process eventually turned into Voyce.
So a lot of people are familiar with the Fitbits and those little things that you wear on your wrist and gives you all this information. Mm-hmm. So this is similar to that, but it really seems to take it several steps further.
Correct. So it's very similar to a Fitbit in the respect that it can give us access to things such as distance traveled and calories burned, and it can give us feedback on how our patients are sleeping and resting at night. But it goes so much further. So what it can also do is we're able to collect resting heart rate and resting respiratory rate on our patients. And so what that means is for the average dog, when they're at home and they're asleep at 3 and 4 in the morning, their dog parents, their pet parents aren't awake and don't know what's going on. But during that same time, we're still collecting their resting heart rate, their resting respiratory rate. We're able to tell how well they're sleeping, which all gives us indicators not only to their cardiovascular fitness, but also to their overall wellness and if they're experiencing any pain.
This seems like such a marvelous idea because, yes, I can see so many indications. So you have that pet that possibly has a seizure and the owner doesn't know because they're not there. And we'll say, boy, we'll control and treat as best we can. What happens when you're not there? Who knows? Or there's so many ways that pets are very good, especially as older guys, of hiding their signs of illness and going, well, I think your pet may be in pain. Well, does it look like it's in pain? How am I supposed to know? And sometimes what's hiding under that fur, what that pet is trying to keep from the owner and from the veterinarian can really make a difference to their health.
Absolutely. I completely agree. From my perspective as a practicing veterinarian, I'm very limited because I'm typically seeing my patients once or twice a year, assuming that everything appears to be healthy. And it's usually for a 30-minute appointment. And there's a lot of information to try and cover during that time frame. And as you said, dogs, of course, are incredibly good at hiding some illnesses, hiding discomfort. And what happens when the pet parents aren't at home, it obviously takes up a huge majority of the time. For most of us that are out of the house 8 to 10 hours a day, that's a huge period of that dog's lives that we unfortunately aren't really able to be totally in tune with. So by using the Voice Monitor and Voice Pro, the veterinarian's getting more insight into what's going on with that pet when they're at home in their natural environment. Their pet parent feels much more engaged because they're able to check in on their pet even while they're away, even when they're traveling. You mentioned that we were in Boston. I was able to check on my dog every day while I was traveling, which was great.
You have to do a computer. You can do your phone, I believe. Isn't that correct? So you can smartphone?
Yep. Any place where you have access to the internet. So any smartphone, your laptop, your iPad, if you have a notebook that's associated with the internet, you have access to your data. And so does your veterinarian, which is very beneficial. But as we were saying, for some of these conditions that may be more episodic or intermittent, such as some things like seizures, while we wouldn't go so far as to say we can diagnose them, we can certainly pick up indicators that could say, hey, there's something going on here. We see that a lot with things like seizures, with anxiety, where we may see episodic episodes of destructiveness. So we're able to help pick up on those and know if we're seeing some improvement with some of our treatments.
So before we get into all the indications, number one, where did Voice come from? You keep saying Voice Pro, so was there a non-Voice Pro?
That's an absolutely great question, and I apologize. It can be a little confusing at times. So we refer to a number of different things as being part of the Voice family, as it were. So what Voice is it's a health and wellness band that the dog wears that collects all of the different metrics. So resting heart rate, resting respiratory rate, activity, impact of activity, distance traveled, calories burned, quality of rest, all of that information is collected by what we call the Voice Health and Wellness Monitor. It then syncs into what's called the Voice Wellness Management Center, which is the portal, basically, the hub of information that the pet parents can access to get all sorts of educational materials, to read articles that are written by veterinarians, to see what's been going on with their dog in a daily dashboard, to participate in things like our reminder system, our note-taking section, our goal-setting section. So it's this really robust sort of platform that the pet parents can interact with. And then what Voice Pro is Voice Pro is the combination of those two things. So the Voice Health and Wellness Management System with the Voice Health Monitor, So the actual band itself with the information that the pet parent is putting in and is engaging with. And Voice Pro is the combination of those two pieces along with what the veterinarian is able to do. So the difference in what the veterinarian is then able to do is they can go in and they can set parameters around any of those metrics. They can say, I want to make sure that my particular case, say for instance, my dog Sophie, she has significant arthritis. I can go in as a veterinarian and say, I want to make sure that her resting heart rate stays within this range because that to me indicates that she's not so painful or that her activity level meets certain thresholds. So with Voice Pro, I'm actually able to very specifically customize the care that I'm able to provide for her, both when she's in my hospital as well as when she's at home.
You mentioned something that a veterinarian can access the Voice Pro information on a particular pet. Mm-hmm. So I can then access Sophie when I'm, say, at my practice and, Sophie, how's this kid doing and how's she been doing for the last week? Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So the way that Voice Pro works is the veterinarian will write a prescription. And by writing that prescription, you're saying, I want to be able to engage with this pet when they're at home in their natural environment. And you, as the veterinarian, can then go on and check your daily dashboard to see what's been going on with all of your patients that are wearing a Voice Pro health and wellness monitor. And what that does is that allows all of those patients to come through into a single daily dashboard. And what we do at Voice is we actually will go through all of that information and make sure that each of your patients are staying within the ranges that you have selected. So there's presets that are put in, but you can certainly customize them for each individual patient. And what that then allows is when you see that daily dashboard, you have a quick and easy way to overview what's going on with your patients when they're at home, as opposed to relying solely on your client's subjective opinion, to make sure that they feel like their patient is doing as well as possible. It's very reassuring to the client because you now have a way to keep an eye on their patient when they're at home in their natural environment. And it's also reassuring to the veterinarian because now you've got some objective data to back up all of the subjective reports you've been getting from your clients.
I can see so many different reasons, Dr. Amanda, where this would really come in so handy. Cardiac issues. It's one of the things I'll always tell my clients. Get a little journal, keep track of what that resting heart rate is, because as soon as it starts to go up and we start seeing a trend, that may be indication that your pet is undergoing the first signs of congestive heart failure because that respiratory rate goes up. And so many times you're going, but gee, when I was home, it seemed just fine. Or of course, when they bring that pet into the veterinarian's office, that heart rate tends to go up and that respiratory rate tends to go up. So this is just an awesome way of keeping track, as you were saying. Is it just for big dogs? Because explain what the Voice Pro looks like. It must be a huge thing for this dog to wear.
It certainly sounds with all of the sensors like it would be absolutely ginormous. In fact, when we first started testing it, I was a little surprised personally by how small it was, as well as how accurate it is. It looks like the average, say for instance, the average width of a nylon collar. So it's about an inch and a half in width. And then the brains of the unit, as it were, where all the sensors are actually in sort of a raised piece. So it looks, I hesitate to use the description, but it looks not unlike, say, for instance, a bark collar, except it's much more smoothed out and sleek looking. Luckily, we have people that work with industrial design that wanted to make sure that it was very comfortable for the pet to wear it, so it's much more comfortable than anything along those lines. It's also waterproof and incredibly durable as well. It's designed to be worn 24 hours a day, and the dogs can even wear it when they're taking a bath, things like that. As far as the size, it currently fits dogs that have a neck size from 12 inches up to 32 inches. So basically everything from a Beagle or a Westie all the way up to a St. Bernard or a Great Dane. So we have a really wide range. So we aren't just for the big dogs or for even the giant breed dogs. And we're actively undergoing the miniaturization process right now so that I'm hopeful that by the beginning of this next year, I will have an even smaller version available not only for small dogs, but also for cats.
I was going to say that because so many times those little kitties seem to be the second-class citizens and they don't have monitoring devices. They don't have so many different things things, but good. You're working on a smaller one for cats. I can definitely see a need.
Absolutely. We are working on a smaller one for cats. We're also working on our equine version right now as well. So this is technology that is not going to be limited just to large breed dogs. This is technology that we truly feel has the potential to impact the quality of care for potentially all animals throughout the world. Because we're now going to be able to collect this information in a very passive, non-invasive way, whether it's on your cardiac case that you were referring to, it's so hard to remember not only to keep that diary, but to bring that diary in and to potentially even collect that resting heart rate and resting respiratory rate correctly. Now we're creating a passive way that we can reliably collect this information to help improve the health and wellness for all of these dogs and potentially to pick up on signs of problems sooner. And that's going to be useful whether you're a dog, a cat, a horse, or the veterinarian that's trying to watch out for all of these different guys.
I'm chatting right now with Amanda Landis-Hanna. She is the veterinary director for Voyce Pro. This is really fascinating information on how we can observe our pets when we're not even there for some potential health issues and making sure they're healthy. We're going to be right back after this short break.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
It's designerpetsweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Calling all pet product manufacturers and pet experts. Let the public relations and marketing professionals at Whitegate PR get you featured in the news. I'm Dana Humphrey at Whitegate PR, and we have been specializing in pet product PR for over 10 years and can get your brand featured in the media, from TV to radio to print to blogs. You can find out more at www.whitegatepr.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in and we'll see you now.
Dr. Amanda, thank you so much. I really find that this technology, I know I have a smartphone, and recently as I've been trying to become more active and health conscious, I really like it because it keeps me on track. If I do some power walking, I can set goals, and all of a sudden this little voice comes in my ear, and I have my music going, but this voice says, hey, you're almost there, you're doing fine. It seems like it can be the same type of enthusiasm for an owner going, okay, my pet's heart rate is good, but I need to get some more exercise. My vet keeps saying my dog is a chunky monkey, and I thought it was getting enough exercise, but now I'm looking at this and it's like, nope, it's not getting that exercise it needs. So exercise. Have you been finding that people and pets are becoming more active because they have the Voyce Pro?
I am happy to report that because we are now seeing so very many dogs that are using Voyce Pro and that we're able to track that information, we're seeing not only an improvement in the the amount of activity for these particular dogs, but also in the reports that we're getting. It sounds like a lot of these pet parents are not only going for more walks with their dogs, but it's also helping to enhance their bond because now they have sort of an objective way to track and say, oh, well, I thought my husband took him for a walk today. It looks like, in fact, that didn't happen. And in those cases, it's an excuse now for either you as a whole family or just you and your dog to go out for a walk, which, of course, can help enhance that human-animal bond. It can also help to enhance your dog's waistline and potentially even your own waistline.
I love it. I love that where you're saying, oh, husband says took the dog for a walk. And then you go, but hun, I'm looking at, maybe that was yesterday. You thought you did it today. Why don't you go out for a walk with the dog, or we'll all go together? How about that?
Right. I mean, it's so easy in today's highly technological society to think that things have happened, and we're so incredibly busy. We have a tendency to let things slip by on accident, and that can be everything from your walk to your pet's medications. So we offer pet medication reminders. We also offer reminders for things like your dog's grooming appointments, whether it's toenail trims or ear cleanings, whatever the case may be. We also remind about things like preventative care. So whether it's vaccines or flea and tick prevention, heartworm tests, your recheck examination for your dog's osteoarthritis, we have reminders available for all of those so that you aren't having to solely rely on any one resource. You now have a way to interact with your veterinary hospital as well as with the other members of your family. All of this information can be shared in a very social network.
Can I, as a veterinarian, set these reminders, or is it something that the owner does?
It actually can go both ways. So you have
Perfect.
the opportunity to, as the veterinarian or as the veterinary staff members, to go in and put in those reminders. The pet parent can also go in and put in additional reminders or can edit those. Or if the pet parent puts in a reminder, say, for instance, for a 2-week recheck, but you really want to see them back in a week, you can actually go through and edit those and put in notes around those various things so that you can make sure that you're both on the same page. It's a way to sort of speak the same language, as it were.
This really sounds like concierge medicine because it is so extremely customizable. You can put this information in your smartphone, but now there's just another backup, another way of making sure that everyone's on the same page and you're providing that optimal care.
Absolutely. One of the things that's so difficult for me as a veterinarian is when a pet parent comes in and says, I swear, Fluffy was just doing this thing and now she's not doing it, but I promise it was happening. And it's not ever that I don't believe the pet parent, but it can be difficult without having that sort of objective information in the exam room. And white coat syndrome certainly plays a huge role in that. So this is a way for the veterinarian to be in their hospital, in their natural environment, and keeping an eye on the dog in his or her natural environment while the pet parent is still able to provide that subjective feedback. And so it allows that care to be highly tailored. It allows the pet parent to now become a much more engaged member of the healthcare team for his or her dog and almost empower him or her as the pet parent to learn more about their specific dog through the educational platform, to participate by taking very active notes in the note-taking section, to tailor it to what their specific timeline looks like. Maybe they are incredibly busy and they have a dog walker, so now they can socialize all of this information so that the dog walker can in fact put in some of this information as well. So each individual use of Voyce Pro is highly tailored to each individual dog, which is something that we've seen for a while on the human side. Now we're really excited to be bringing it to all of our pets.
And you said that it's customizable, and it's customizable to breed, so you have an idea of what is typical for your particular breed, correct?
Correct. It's not just by breed. We actually have a very robust database, so we're able to help customize based on the age of the pet, on the sex of the pet, on the interests of the pet parent. So if the pet parent is interested in breeding or in showing or in particular outdoor sporting events, we can send information to that pet parent around any of those things. We can also help because we do have such a great understanding of dogs, and we've worked with so very many different dog experts, not just veterinarians, but also dog trainers, behavioralists. We've worked with groomers, as well as a number of different people in various environments that are all specialists in their own fields. And what that allows us to do is to provide a really robust platform of education so that each pet parent not only becomes better educated about their dog breed, but also about their specific dog, whether it's by age, breed, sex, interest, anything along those lines.
This sounds unbelievable. It sounds spectacular. The collaborative effort that went in from all of these experts. And then it also sounds like this has to be extremely expensive.
That is definitely the response that I had when we first started talking about it. And of course, as we all know, veterinarians are certainly very conscious of making sure that everything fits into everyone's budget. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a way for pet parents to have access to this information in a way that was very financially feasible. So when the veterinarian writes the prescription, what the veterinarian is going to do is indicate whether they're monitoring for an acute issue or more of a chronic or ongoing issue. So for an acute issue, say for instance for a post-surgical case where the veterinarian wants to monitor, say for 3 months, that is going to cost the pet parent about $60 a month. And what they get access to is the entire platform that we were just talking about. So the monitoring, the veterinarian being able to monitor and keep track of everything, as well as all of the record-keeping systems. There is a deposit that's put down on the Voice Wellness Monitor on the band itself that's fully refundable when the band is returned. If the veterinarian is going to be monitoring more for a chronic or ongoing issue, say for instance for obesity or osteoarthritis or cancer, that cost to the pet parent is going to be about $30 a month. And again, there will be a deposit that's put down on the monitor, which is, again, fully refundable when such time as the patient is no longer needing to be monitored or when that band is returned back to us. And again, for that $30 a month, the pet parent gets access to the entire Voice Wellness Management Center with all of the articles, all of the reminders, all of the note-taking section. And the veterinarian also gets access to the entire Voice Pro system, which includes all of the specialized management of each individual case.
That's less than an office call for most dogs that are out there throughout the United States. So that is extremely cost effective. What if somebody says, okay, my veterinarian wrote this prescription. Thankfully, maybe it was separation anxiety, and we used this collar to see if the dog was truly becoming anxious and, the respiratory rate went up and its activity went up because it's scratching at the door, doing whatever it was doing. All right, we are able to get that under control. The veterinarian, the behaviorist, life is good. But, I really like having this collar. Can somebody just buy a voice collar and keep it in perpetuity?
So that is an option that's available. Again, with the Voice Pro system, the way that it's set up for the veterinarian to pretty much customize the care and engage, that's mostly through that rental or service agreement type of model that we were just discussing. But if a pet parent wants to continue just without having the veterinarian do the monitoring, they can purchase a Voice Wellness Monitor, the band itself, outright. And once they purchase it, they're then able to pay a monthly subscription fee to keep that coming in. A third option, though, and one that a lot of our clients that started off as being acute users are reporting, is that they really enjoy knowing that their veterinarian has access to the data. So they actually convert over. So they'll start with say for instance, an acute version, and then they'll decide, you know what, I want to keep this indefinitely. I want to keep it for the next 10 years on Fluffy and make sure that Fluffy stays healthy and that we're continuing to be able to let the veterinarian know what's going on. And that's also available as well. Because it is by prescription with Voice Pro is also being covered by some pet health insurance plans.
Oh, fabulous.
So certainly if you're wanting to utilize your pet health insurance coverage, you will want to go through the Voice Pro through the more chronic or ongoing use after you solve your acute problems. And that will allow not only your veterinarian to continue to be able to really manage that case, but your dog will stay on your veterinarian's dashboard. So if anything changes, that's going to show up on your veterinarian's dashboard so that your veterinarian may actually be aware even sooner than you are.
Dr. Amanda Landis-Hanna of Voice. This is just a lifesaver I can see for so many dogs, hopefully soon for cats. Besides all the things that it is presently looking at, there's always new and improved with technology. So yes, we're right now doing resting heart rate and resting respiratory rate, that activity and intensity level. Calories burned, wonderful. Gee, really, I thought it was, getting its weight down. Why isn't it getting its weight down? How far it traveled, and that quality of rest. What other things is Voice hoping in the future to monitor?
Well, that is a bit of a loaded question because, of course, for me as a veterinarian, I'm a data junkie. I want as much information as I can get, as fast as I can get it, and as accurately as I can get it. We've been very, very lucky through our partnership with Cornell University, as well as by working with biomedical experts, to really kind of be on the cutting edge of what's not only currently available, but what's going to be available as far as sensors and technologies, and making sure that we're providing the best care possible to our dogs. And it's also very important to us that we stay accurate. Right now, we are greater than 90% accurate when compared to a Holter monitor, an EKG, a veterinarian or a veterinary technician. So we want to make sure that as we add additional capabilities and additional sensors, that we maintain that high level of integrity. So moving forward, some things that we are taking a look at are a number of different sensors around things like temperature, so that we can potentially not only pick up the external temperature, but also potentially be able to pick up the internal temperature of the patient. That's a little bit tricky, of course. We want to make sure that we are staying very, very accurate because there are some sensors that are currently out there and available, and they report that they are able to collect temperature. Unfortunately, their accuracy levels have not been proven. So that is one thing that we will be taking a look at in the future. We're also looking at adding in a variety of different sensors around UV radiation because there are so many dogs that suffer from issues such as skin cancer. We want to make sure that we're able to pick up on that so that if a particular dog is at higher risk, we're then able to notify that pet parent if they're getting too much sun exposure. There's a few other things that we're definitely looking at in the future as well. In fact, we will be adding in an upgrade to the accelerometer in the not too distant future, which will allow us to pick up on things such as urination, which will be incredibly helpful if you have a dog that has kidney problems, bladder problems, or if you have a dog that's having issues with house training as well. So we're working around all of those things. We're also working to extend not only the battery life, but also make sure that we have a great understanding of how this can potentially be used again in other species. So we're talking not only about the miniaturization process, again, for small dogs and cats, everything from our little teacup chihuahuas to some of our great big huge Maine Coon cats and our teeny tiny kitties. But we're also looking at other species as well. I already mentioned briefly that we are actively working on our horse model, but we're also looking at a bovine model for cows as well as an ovine model for pigs.
I can see how a lot of this works, how you can tell when a pet is urinating. That is amazing. All right. And this collar that you have, I'm looking at it going, I wonder if it would fit me. Get some great information on myself. Just wear it. It's a new piece of jewelry. Amanda Landis-Hanna, this has been wonderful. If somebody wanted to learn more about it, and maybe their veterinarian is not up to a speed yet, because I know this is really very new, where can somebody get information on the Voyce Pro?
They can visit www.voyce.com. And again, it's Voice spelled V-O-Y-C-E.
So understand your dog's health and do it in ways you've never done it before by giving your dog a voice. Dr. Amanda, thank you so much. This has really been enlightening. It's definitely something I want to offer to my pet parents. I really do think that it can save lives. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
So if you want to be the best possible pet owner, you might want to invest in something such as the Voyce Pro, and listen to us next week on The Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio. Thank you very much for being with us. Have a great day.
Pets can be a wonderful addition to your life because they're a member of the family. Keeping them healthy and happy is important. Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor with veterinary media consultant and veterinarian Dr. Bernadine Cruz. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. The Pet Doctor, on demand every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com.